Today we're going to learn about the Pythagorean Theorem, which we use in right triangles. The Greek mathematician Pythagoras found that in right triangles, if you know the measure of two sides, you can find the measure of the last side through this formula. In a right triangle, you have two legs that make up the right angle, and then you have a long diagonal called the hypotenuse, which connects the two legs. The Pythagorean theorem says that in a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. Sounds confusing, but all it's saying is the length of side A squared plus the length of side B squared will give you the length of side C squared. Let's try one. Remember, leg A squared plus leg B squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. So if our value for A is 3, we have 3 squared plus our value for B, which is 4, squared is equal to C squared. Now we know that 3 squared equals 9, and we know that 4 squared equals 16, but we still don't know C squared. But we can do 9 plus 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. 25 is equal to C squared. And now, all we have to do to find what C squared is take the square root of it. Square root of C squared is simply C, and the square root of 25 is 5. So we know that our hypotenuse is equal to 5. Now, what happens if we have the hypotenuse length, but we don't have the measure of one of the legs? Guess what? We're still going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Now, in this case, we don't know A, so A squared is still A squared. Our B, we know, is 5, so we have A squared plus 5 squared is equal to C, which we know is 13. A squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. Now we keep A squared as A squared since we don't know it. 5 squared is 25. And 13 squared is 169. Now we isolate the variable. So since we want to get A by itself, we have to move the 25. So we have A squared is equal to 144. Now we get rid of the square by taking the square root, and A equals 12. Please try these 3 problems on a separate piece of paper to turn in tomorrow. And don't forget you need the Pythagorean theorem. Good luck, you can do this.